Welcome to another edition of Breaking News brought to you by Source Selection Soundbites. Today we will discuss the case of PTC Inc., decided at the GAO. In this case, the agency intended to sole source a software license purchase under the one responsible source exception to full and open competition. The specific reason the Air Force used to justify the purchase was highly specialized services, where the services are only available from the original source, when it is likely that award to any other source would result in, among other things, substantial duplication of cost to the government that is not expected to be recovered through competition. This rationale is used for follow-on contracts. The J&A categorized the software licenses as highly specialized services because the series of previous contracts for the software license represented a significant investment. The agency reasoned in the J&A that since Siemens was the only source for reactivation services for the expired licenses, the services were highly specialized. A protest was launched against the agency's planned action. The protester alleged that the agency's use of this authority to purchase the software on a sole source basis was unreasonable because the authority used pertains to follow-on contracts. The protester contended that a contract with an entirely different party, proposed multiple years after the expiration of the original contracts, cannot be a follow-on contract for the continued provision of services in the sense contemplated by the FAR. In response, the agency noted that the FAR does not define a follow-on contract, but notes that this contract follows a series of contracts for Siemens Teamcenter software, which collectively represent a significant agency investment in that software. Additionally, the agency contends that, because Siemens is the only source for the reactivation services the agency is seeking, the transaction is appropriately characterized as a procurement of highly specialized services. The GAO found against the protester, even though it agreed the agency's reasoning was flawed. GAO's review of the record led them to conclude that it was not a follow-on contract. In GAO's view, the agency's flawed reasoning would mean any subsequent purchase of services from an original manufacturer could be appropriately characterized as a follow-on contract. They found this reasoning to be an untenable interpretation of the regulatory text. However, the GAO will not overturn a sole source award because the agency cites an inapplicable exception to the requirement of full and open competition if the record supports the application of a different exception. The GAO ultimately determined that the J&A met the requirement to use the one responsible source exception, as its use is not limited to the examples cited under FAR 6302-1. 1. Now let's address a few of the lessons learned from this protest. They include: 1. The Air Force's interpretation of follow-on contract was not tenable. 2. The CO should ensure the agency's rationale is tenable before publishing the J&A. 3. DoD, NASA, and the Coast Guard may use the highly specialized services exception for follow-on contracts, and 4. SECA and the FAR contemplate that an agency may find supplies and services available from one responsible source for reasons other than those related to follow-on contracts. In this episode of Source Selection Soundbites, we discussed the PTC case and the related sole source concepts. This concludes today's Source Selection Soundbite. If this video was helpful, hit the like and subscribe button to ensure you don't miss any new material. If you want more details on the subject, they are available on the Source Selection Answer app. It contains lectures, quizzes, court cases, sample documents, and more material that allows practitioners to quickly obtain actionable knowledge. Thanks for watching. See you next time.